All right, quick question. Who are your competitors? I'll give you 2 seconds to think about it. All right. It's kind of an unfair question. I'll give that to you because in order to actually answer that, you would have to ask a few other questions like, are you talking about online or offline? Are you talking about direct or indirect? Are you talking about, Google or social? To which target audience? So I realize that's kind of an unfair question, but if you were to able to quickly rattle off your top three, like most clients, it's one of the questions we ask clients when bringing them on board. Most are able to rattle off the top three that they think that they are competing against. What's interesting is a lot of people don't realize they have in their mind what and who they are competing against, wherein somebody searching on Google comes up with a completely different set of competition. And here's why, because I think it's the new definition of competition, which is competition is anything or anyone that steals attention from you. So that means even if they aren't a direct competitor, if someone else distracts one of your prospects, either by, being ranked higher than you on Google, or they have something that is more interesting, better educates, whatever it is, if they take the attention off of you and on them, whether or not they are a direct or indirect competitor, they are competing against you. Why? Because really, if you think about it, Google's whole ranking system is attention and engagement, right? And so if you aren't ranked on the top page, whether or not that the Indeed listing or the listicle that's competing against your page from ranking, it is taken away from people seeing your content. So what you really got to know, though, is figuring out who are these people like you are competing against. And for product businesses, there are really direct and indirect, but then service businesses, I think about it in three different kind of levels. And there's three ways to offer any type of service. There is a done for you, done with you, and do it yourself versions, right? Done for you is we do it completely for you. Like let's use the example of an e-commerce consultant, okay? So this person might offer e-commerce services, and in a done for you, he actually goes in and does the work. He makes the recommendations, then he does the work, okay? And then a done with you would be where he is a coach or consultant, and he's consulting and walking people alongside, but they are doing the work. And then a do it yourself would be where he offers maybe a course or a program, and people enroll, and then they take it themselves. Maybe he has a little customer support, to help people along the way. So let's look at those three types and look at that person thinking that, from his one-on-one competitors aren't just other e-commerce consultants at the do-it-yourself level, at the bottom level, the DIY. It is other courses. It's other free types of information like YouTube videos, blog articles, free courses, books, and then there's also things like Facebook and Slack groups. At the done with you level, his competition is things like group coaching programs, masterminds, online courses, and even local groups like EO or YPO, and industry groups that may be not a direct competitor, but it might be somebody like, another entrepreneurial group or a group at a co-working space or a meetup group even. And then the done for you level, it would be other like a full service agency, or the person maybe deciding to hire internally rather than hire that consultant. Okay. So we went from thinking that the competition was just other consultants to that many, there was a dozen more. It's like thinking about Starbucks isn't just, their competitors aren't just Dunkin' Donuts or even now, McDonald's coffee. Yes, they're at a completely different level, but we're also talking about a Nespresso machine that you have in your kitchen. Talking about ground coffee, that you buy from the store. So there's all of these other pieces in here that you are competing against. Now, I don't say that to, this isn't a big go back to the drawing board and you have to rethink everything, but it is really helpful because you can harness these competitors to create better content than them, create a better experience. Because here's where people mess up the most, where I see people mess up, is the companies that get into the most trouble are the ones that only see themselves as a done for you or a done with you service, and they don't create any content that educates their prospects into making the best decision or choosing them when it's time for them to decide. They just think they are a done for you, and that's all they do. That's where people get into trouble. So when you're looking at it on Google too, you have your competitive landscape. When you do a search, even for e-commerce consultant, you see you're also competing with all these categories that I just listed, but you're also competing with paid search, with local search, the little 3-pack, the paid ads at the top, and then you have the organic piece. And then you're also competing with, I did a search and a Facebook profile came up in Google. So you have the social media side as well. One more layer to throw onto it is publications. So affiliate sites, directories, online marketplaces. So whether it is a freelancing site like a job board, or it is Upwork, there are all these other directories, then they create crazy well SEO optimized listicles where it's like the top, and you can look at it if you Google e-commerce coaching, 50 e-commerce coaches you must follow, or there's an academy for it, or, the X number of best e-commerce coaches. So there's all of these different choices that you can make all up and down the done for you, done with you, do it yourself range of services. All right. So here's what I would suggest you thinking about if you haven't. If it kind of comes as a shock to you that your competitors aren't just direct competitors, Google yourself, and every version, open up your Google Search Console or Webmaster Tools like it was used to be called, and look at how people are finding you and the keywords already. Google all the different variations. Ask people when they find you what they searched for. And then being proactive by educating customers by creating intentional, strategic content. Next is making sure that the content you create and the pages on your website are actually connected to your sales process. So it's not just getting people on an email list. It's not just saying, here's my services, but it's actually having that next step to take when people are ready to purchase or learn more. Okay. And then lastly, optimize your content for these keywords and terms that you are trying to rank for, being intentional about that while keeping in mind that you're always ranking for humans over robots. So it's not keyword stuffing. You can have your cake and eat it too. And I have other articles about that, but do not ignore your competition. They are a wealth of knowledge and info. Don't obsess over them, but you can get a lot of insights from them in the research process and by keeping an eye out on what other people are doing that you are not. Hopefully that helps.